Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, brought to you by Muscle Tech and starring Dr. George Tuliados, also brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding 2, over 700 pages, everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, and of course, PEDs. While you're on Amazon.com, picking that up as a holiday gift, Get Real Bodybuilding, my book, such a great book. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome the good doctor, George Tuliados. Hi, George. What's up, man?
Hi, Ron.
Got your Olympia shirt on.
Yeah.
Olympia fever is building.
This will be my third Olympia. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
it's coming up fast. It's we're speaking on a Monday, and I think you'll be there like 3 weeks from. What do you get there on a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah, exactly. I get November 1st, the day before. Actually, the night before. I arrived there at 11 o'clock at night. So the next day is the registration.
It's okay. Yeah. So we had the last two qualifiers for the Mr. Olympia this past weekend. I was up late last night with Jen covering the Legion Sports Fest in Nevada. Charles Griffin won that. He was 14th in the Olympia last year. And over in Milan, Italy, Theo Leguerrier from France, he got his first, I think he was in the Olympia last year, but he got his Olympia qualification. So that's it. No more people going to Olympia.
I think Ian is retired, right?
No, Ian quit. He retired.
He retired, so he competed?
No. I'm talking about so the show in Italy was won by Theo
Oh,
Leguerrier,
okay. Sorry. Yeah.
and then Charles Griffin won the show in Reno, Nevada, the Legion
So
Sports
it's over
Fest.
now. The door has closed, huh?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's less than 4 weeks away. So I'd be
Mm.
curious. I'm going to check out the list later and see how stacked it is. Because last year they had was it over 450 competitors? It was a lot of people in the Olympia last year. And we got rid of the point system after that show because we thought that's why there were too many athletes. Then we realized point system was only bringing in two people per division. It really wasn't changing the numbers that much. In fact, there's a lot of shows. Anyway, like I said, some weeks we get like 4 questions. Some weeks we get like 30 questions. This was one of those weeks. And guys, if we didn't get your question, sometimes, especially if they're longer questions, it's just a time thing. We can't really have these videos going too long. So try to keep your questions really short and to the point. If you can, you have a much better chance. Also, the peptide things, we're really not that. I don't think, Doctor, the peptides are something that
I want to
they're
answer something that I'm solid, and I'm very aware of what I'm talking about and not just speculate. And actually, yeah, peptides is a new field that is under construction. I mean, the main problem with peptides is if it has legitimate in their sources, it's a critical.
yeah.
So the main speculation of what they do, the point is, can you find a real source?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you saw Rick Collins' post, I think it was Friday, that the FDA is now going to make it illegal for compounding pharmacies like Frontline Alternative that I use to sell BPC 157, which is a peptide that a lot of
The
people
point,
use for
listen,
healing.
even in Greece or in the States, the FDA hasn't yet approved officially that it has beneficial effects. So it's off-label. It's something definitely it's underground. It's not produced by big pharma, but there are not perhaps enough citations that these things are beneficial. Maybe they are, but yet we're not sure about it. So that for instance, Morlin is something that works officially and it's approved by FDA. But other peptides, maybe they have beneficial effects, and we also use them, but officially by the orthopedic surgeons are not yet implemented.
They're so new. Steroids have been around for 60 years or more, and these peptides, they're still a very new thing with not a
Yeah,
lot
for
of research.
medicine, you need more years in order to establish something, to
Yeah.
make it
So
official.
So, guys, that's why if you're asking a lot of detailed questions about peptides, a lot of times we don't pick those questions just because Dr. T doesn't want to speak about something he's really not that informed about. And there's not a lot of solid information to base any opinions or advice on. So, let's get to some questions that we are answering. I made this the top question, Doctor, because I thought this was the most fascinating question of the week. In order to have that aesthetic physique look like influencers, which steroids do we need to specifically stack? Which stacks does doc suggest to have the aesthetic look? So which is going to give
Listen,
me an
Ron, you
aesthetic
can
physique?
have a steady look even with diet animal if you diet hard. Okay. even with testosterone, with DECA. I was using DECA and testosterone. That's all the legitimate drugs, but I was dying hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so you may be a flabby guy who eats pizza and use Winchell and Anavar and Master, but yet you cannot burn fat out of the diet, you know? So, well, the aesthetic, the cosmetic, let's say, drugs are those that do not aromatize and leads to derivatives. Primo, Winchell, Anavar, Master, and Proviro. Okay, a fast-acting testosterone will retain presumably less water because it clears the system. But doesn't mean that they burn the fat exclusively. Okay, they burn the fat indirectly by building muscle tissue. But the fat burning effect is done by stimulants, by G8s, and definitely by diet, by low carbs, caloric deficit, cardio. That's the main thing.
Nobody wants to hear about genetics because you can't change your genetics. But when you see somebody with a really, what we call a pretty physique, aesthetically pleasing, wide shoulders, small waist, small joints, round muscle bellies, any steroid that they use is going to make them look better. But somebody who has like a wide, thick waist, just genetically, the bone, the big hips, big, thick elbows, wrists, knees, you're never going to have an aesthetic look. It doesn't matter
It
what
also,
drugs you take.
it also has to do with the muscle anatomy, the bellies, you know, the round chest, for instance, the round shoulders, the traps, the biceps, okay, how they look all together.
Yeah, like we'll never have arms like you, Doc. Never, 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 never. So I'll just cry myself to sleep. Next one is I'm 53 years old. Two questions. So let's do number one. Total test is 777. I just increased my weekly HRT to 200 milligrams a week to be fully optimized. Is this a good idea? All my lab work is excellent. So I don't know what he was using before, but he wants to know if he can increase it to 200 milligrams.
How much was this? 777.
Yeah, he was at 777 and he wants to go higher than that, I guess.
Yeah, okay. When we measure the testosterone, we need to count it at the trough level, which means the day of the injections, but before shooting.
Okay.
Okay, the day of the shot, but just before the shot. I guess if you're an average guy with body mass index, let's say 200 pounds, 5'9", 200 milligrams will take you above the 1,000 nanograms. Okay. Also, total free testosterone will go higher than the roof. But all that matters also, I mean, the main deviation that happened is the hematocrit, the estrogens, okay? And watch out also your HDL. If it's all good, then you can even use more. But I guess, as we said, in the long run, you will notice that you have perhaps some aromatization and some erythrocytosis and some dyslipidemia out of the reduction of HDL. It's genetic also, but the less you're using, the more likely that you will avoid the consequences of a higher dose.
Part of his question, he says, I was prescribed human growth hormone post-op. Should I take it at night, in the morning, or post-workout? And then he says, I also have BPC 157, which we just mentioned, daily post-op, was prescribed NPP. Wow. Not sure if I should add the NPP to the mix at a low dose or wait for a few months to regain muscle size and function.
So this guy is following a cycle.
Yeah, well, he's got the test. He wants to bump that up. He's got some
You got to test as a
growth.
replacement therapy or a cycle.
Looks like a little cycle to me, for sure.
All right, if it's a cycle, then yeah. I mean, for MPP, what matches well is the propionate testosterone.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then for the G8s, I would say split the dose AM and PM every 12 hours.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Next one is what are Dr. G's thoughts on short cycles with testosterone enanthate or cypionate to get the most of the gains with the reduction in side effect duration? Say, for example, 4 to 6 weeks, as some of the studies on changes in fat-free mass seem to have the largest changes in that period, with the periods exceeding this resulting in a slowing down of the FFM delta. So that's interesting. I think studies have shown you get the most muscle growth in the first 4 to 6 weeks of any cycle. Is that
I
right?
mean, up to 8 weeks. I mean, 1 month is very short. The window, especially if it's a long ester like cypionate.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So you need at least 2 months, and then Bill Welling says that in 3 months you have shut off your receptors.
Yeah.
So I guess 8 to 12 weeks is the time window for a change. 4 to 6, come on, you need only pills and fast-acting testosterone.
Yeah. I mean, if you're using an anthate, it's going to be at least a week until you notice anything. At
Yeah, it
least.
kicks, even CPNA is slower. It kicks slower every week.
Here's a question we've only been asked this one 500 times. How do I protect my hair on a cycle? And does finasteride at 1 milligram have any negative effects?
You just use testosterone, nothing else. Finasteride, dutasteride, minoxidil, and ketoconazole. Those four compounds plus only testosterone. If you want to add GH, it's all good. No other steroids. End of the story.
I'm going to go to Greece not Greece, Turkey. Turkey next year. I'm going to get some hair like you. Put it right there. All right, next one is my premixed Neutropin GH always comes refrigerated. By mistake, my Neutropin was put in the freezer for one night. Do you think it's still good? On the package, it says not to freeze it.
Okay, just check the IGF-1. The blood never lies. So check it out after shooting, and you will see if it spikes.
In the future, do not freeze your growth hormone. Do not leave it out in hot temperatures. Bad idea. So, here's a good one. I'm sick of chicken breast diet. Can I use chicken thighs without the skin, of course? Does it work the same, and can I still get shredded?
Absolutely, even better because they have more fat. Fat is anabolic because they contain also arachidonic acid. Okay, especially the chicken thigh. The chicken breast is perfectly well for dieting, but it's not bad to eat some chicken thigh. Come on.
I mean, I told this guy I told him in the comments, I've eaten thighs instead of breast because it's half the price. It tastes better because it doesn't get as dry. It does have a little more fat, but if you're accounting for that in your daily macros, it's not a big deal.
It's not just the thigh; it's also the shoulder of the chicken. You take it together as a piece.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a considerable good amount of meat.
And like I said, half the price for people who are eating a lot of chicken. If you're eating chicken like twice a day, like a lot of us do.
But of course, skinless thigh, right?
Yeah, take the skin off. Do not eat the skin. Next one, Doc. I got a little confused after last episode. In the previous episode, you mentioned that PCT is done with 2 weeks of HCG and then 2 weeks with SERMs, 1 week 20 milligrams clomiphene with 10 milligrams tamoxifen, and 1 week 12.5 milligrams clomiphene with 5 milligrams tamoxifen every other day. In your book, you mentioned about PCT that SERMs are taken every day and the doses are double 1 week, 50 milligram clomiphene with 12.5 milligrams tamoxifen 1 week, and then 25 milligram clomiphene and 25 milligram tamoxifen. So he thinks there's a little discrepancy in what you said on the show.
Well, the book was written 2 years ago, and the last book was a copy paste of the third one with the addition of some Q&As. So as we age, we learn more. And in my office, I discovered that people complain when they stop the HCG and start using the SERMs. That's why we need low dose of the SERMs. So 25 and 10 of clomiphene and tamoxifen for a brief period of time, all right? And especially, I'm telling them not just half a tablet, but every other day. So a quarter of a clomiphene. Because the more clomiphene, the higher the HCG, and it's counterproductive, okay? So I believe, according to my experience, that after the HCG, you should start using 1/4 of clomiphene and 1/4 of Nolvadex, okay?
I remember using too much clomid because I didn't know. I was an idiot.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it messes up your mood, your sex drive because it elevates the CPG. Yeah. So in the paper, it may seem that it worked through LH high, total testosterone high, but the free testosterone goes down because also SHBG goes high.
Yeah. They got really sad. I was like sad all the time. It was terrible. Stupid clomid. Anyway, next one. I'm currently on 350 milligrams a week of test. I pin this twice a week. 50 milligrams Anavar every day. Should I take Arimidex? If yes, what's the dose? I haven't seen any side effects.
If you're 50 testosterone, you definitely need 2 milligrams per week, I guess, at least.
Split that up. So yeah, so like a milligram like Monday, a milligram Friday, maybe.
Yeah, you can tell that.
I think I'm on half a milligram every day, or twice a week, I should say. Through Frontline. Okay, next one is, what are your thoughts on adding Pharma Primobolan 200 a week and 25 milligrams Proviron to my current TRT dose of 150 milligrams test cypionate divided 2 shots a week, supplementing with red yeast rice, fish oil, and CoQ10. My goal is lean muscle gain. Current body fat about 12%. Blood work is in check.
Yeah. We start TRT because we're hypogonadic. We don't start TRT in order to make a better body. Okay.
Mhm.
So this guy's perception is like following a cycle. Follow your cycles, but do not give a bad name to the TRT. Okay. It's a different thing. That's why Mogetala freaks out. Let's say you're a bunch of bodybuilders who call it TRT and you're using a bunch of steroids. Okay. So either testosterone and let's say misterolone, GH. All right. You call the HRT anti-aging and keep out the damn Primo, the Deca. Now, Primo, the only benefit, it's a very expensive actually drug, but the only benefit you get for a sex drive because it DHC derivative. You can use Provider, which is much cheaper, okay, in order to enhance your sex drive by suppressing this HPG. But come on now, unless you have a trauma, you had a surgery, okay, or you're a 60-year-old guy, you can use Primo, but it's going to cost you a lot. It's a weak anabolic though.
Crazy how, the big rumor probably like 10 years ago or less that the Kuwait guys were huge on Primobolan and did not use much test. Like Primobolan was their main
You think
steroid
so?
choice.
You don't build much muscle in Primo. It's anti-catabolic in high doses.
Yeah. Which is why, a lot of women, the only steroids that there's no safe steroid for women. We're not going to say safe, but a lot of women will use Anavar and Primobolan, the only two steroids that they feel are safer for a woman. So for a man, you can imagine you need a lot of Primobolan to see really good results. Here's a good one. What, if any, steroids do not raise hematocrit and hemoglobin levels?
There are no steroids because steroids are made for this, to treat anemia.
Damn it.
So the only thing you can do is use moderate or mild doses. Even the TRT kicks CPO, and we're using moderate doses in TRT. So that's the name of the game. Now, allegedly, the low androgens kick less EPO rather than the high androgens. So avoid tren, avoid halo testing, the very high androgens. Testosterone also in an androgen, but even that, they say that testosterone and Wisol and DEC also fight anemia, even though they are low androgenic. So it's the nature of the steroids to keep the EPO.
This is like asking which steroids won't shut down my natural testosterone production. Because I've heard people
There's an answer to this.
Oh,
The
there is.
derivatives to a lesser degree,
Okay.
Eventually will. So Anavar, Wisol, Primo,
Hmm.
Masteron, and Provaro, they do not aromatize, and this is a good factor in order to avoid the HPDA suppression
Oh, wow. Okay.
compared to other drugs that produce estrogen.
Right.
But even that, in the long run, they will suppress you.
Cool. All right. We're almost done. Couple more. Hey, doc, I prefer running DECA over NPP due to less frequent injections. Do you have any advice for dealing with the mental side effects on DECA? I heard running a DHT derivative alongside of it, like Masteron, can help. I was planning to run test SIP, DECA, and possibly Masteron as the next cycle. I would appreciate any advice you can give on helping design a next cycle, dosages, ancillary drugs using these three compounds. Wow, free coach.
So what do you have in mind, this guy? What are those rumors about the side effects and the mental issues? Is
DECA.
there something in particular
Well, he
that DECA?
thinks. Yeah, what have you heard about DECA mental side effects from DECA? I'm really not aware of that.
Well, I've heard some, but to Olympic weight lifters after many years,
Hmm.
after they retired, and they have perhaps some. They have to do with memory, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but I don't know. DECA is not androgenic. It's widely used, and I don't think that you have the side effects of a high androgen, for instance, like the trembolone or the halotestin, or even high doses of testosterone. Now, if you can add the DHT derivative, well, the DHT derivatives are low androgenic also.
Yeah.
They make your mood, I guess, because they elevate the free testosterone, unlike the DECA that does not have a high affinity with HPG. So DECA is not a good answer for your highest HPG and your sex drive, unlike the Wisol, the Anavar, the Primobolan, that they bind tightly with the SHBG and they liberate the free testosterone. You feel good.
Most of the people that I know that love DECA, they're older guys like me who their joints are just trashed, and
Not
they're
just
using.
this, but they fill up the muscles with water, and you
Yeah.
feel more round, more jacked, more pumped, more fuller. It's a nice feeling, you know, when your muscles are not drained, they're not flat,
Yeah.
and because it increases the intramuscular water also, and muscles are water 70%. You know,
So I would say that Test and Deca probably just that combination has put more muscle on more people over many decades than any other cycle you could imagine. Because people are always looking for the perfect cycle.
yeah,
Arnold's
that's the
Day,
change. There's that kind of diagonal. If you cannot grow on this, you grow nothing.
yeah, if you can't grow on that, you're not meant to be a bodybuilder. I'm sorry to say.
Or perhaps you're eating lousy, you train lousy, and you sleep lousy.
I see that a lot. I see a lot of people that come to me that I can't. I say, "How much are you eating?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're barely eating." They party, they play video games all night. Of course, you're not going to grow. You got to do everything right, guys. Anyway, last question I saved. It was a good one, a really good one. It says, I'm presently blasting 750 tests and 600 NPP. I have surgery to repair an umbilical hernia coming up, and they will be putting me under. Do I need to come off the gear for any length of time before going under anesthesia?
Certainly, because every time we get operated, they check out the bleeding time. Okay, so the clotting factors
Yeah.
that are producing the liver. Now, if you're using much gear, your bleeding time is prolonged. The INR is prolonged. The APTT is prolonged. These are the clotting factors. So come off. Use just TRT dose if you're hypogonatic. Otherwise, you need to clear your liver in order to have good bleeding time. Otherwise, you're going to have issues during the surgery to cut the bleeding, you know?
Yeah.
I had this trouble when I was operated from my abscess in my butt. And I was aware, I was conscious because they used me part anesthesia, you know? You could hear and smell. And
Wow.
because my arteries couldn't stop because I had gear in my body, you know, I had to be operated immediately. I smelled the burning flesh, you know, because they had to burn my artery to stop the bleeding. It couldn't stop the bleeding because of the bloody gear, you know.
Wow. Yeah. I have a good story about that. So I had a vasectomy in January of 2000, but I had gone in November, I think, or October. I think I went in October of 1999. A month after my son had been born, I went in for a vasectomy, and I had just finished a cycle, and I had done photo shoots for Ironman and all this crap. It was still in my system, and the doctor, I got into surgery, and he looked at me, and he said, are you on anabolic steroids? I said, yeah. He goes, we can't do this today. I said, what do you mean we can't do this today? I'm here. Let's go. My wife's in the waiting room. So I walk out of the waiting room like 5 minutes later, and my wife's like, what the hell? What happened? And I had to tell her, and she didn't know I had been on a cycle. And oof, that was a big fight. But he would not do it because of the bleeding. There's just too much risk. Your blood's not going to clot. You could bleed out, and they're cutting your nuts open. Oof, bad times. So
So
this,
the only solution for this is to administer K2 vitamin intravenous that
mm,
clots. All right, but better come off, let your liver be healthy, you know, so those bleeding times are fixed, and then go for it.
if this guy's on that much gear, 750 tests, I don't know what the ester is, 600 MPP, how long do you think he needs to stay off or get
Depends on the
off?
liver enzymes and on the bleeding time. So it's one of the parameters we can see somebody's using gear. When the INR is over, let's say 1.1 second, 1.1 is people that are doing heart surgery and change the valves. They're taking some pills that prolong the INR, so we avoid clotting. Okay, those people, if they cut themselves, the bleeding stops in 5 minutes instead of 2 minutes. Okay, the same with steroids.
Yeah. But you were talking about if they're doing like an open heart surgery, it's going to take
Yeah,
like
yes,
hours.
yes. Or they put a stent. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
the same happens with steroids. It's called fibrinolysis. That means the breaking down of the thrombus. So you have prolonged bleeding.
All right. All right. Well, that is all our questions. Boy, we're getting Olympia fevers coming up, guys. So coming up, if you haven't checked, the doctor had his Olympia predictions on
Many
musculardevelopment.com on the
people believe
website.
that Derek will win.
I think so.
Really?
I
You
mean,
said last year that's going to be, I guess, number two or something, or a winner.
yeah, last year I said he would be second place, and he was. I'm not saying I'm not right all the time. And Hadi looks great. Don't get me wrong. I would be very happy if Hadi won again. Derek, I think Derek's just he's leveled up. He's much better.
Again, we have the first two positions, the 212 guys.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen the recent pictures of Lunsford? His back is it's one of the
Yeah,
craziest backs I've ever.
Improvements of Lunsford and Dowd. Hadi is the usual, Hadi very grainy.
Yeah.
We shall see, very tight. And don't neglect Nick Walker, Brandon Carr, who's very experienced also.
Samson looks great too. So it's gonna be a great show this year. I'm very excited for the Olympia.
Actually, Rudy Panada will be there. He texted me.
Oh, nice. I don't think I've ever met Rudy Panada.
Yeah, Rudy.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met him. So that'd be cool. You'll have to
I'll
introduce
introduce
him. Awesome. Yeah, I like his stuff. We don't have much of it here, but we do have some pieces at a gym downtown that Jose Raymond trains people out of. They have like 5 or 6 Panada pieces. Love that stuff. And the Redcon gym I went to years ago, a couple years back, had like 40 pieces. Great stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you have questions for next week, please put them below, or if you just have comments, we like those. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, both on your YouTube and your phone. Of course, like the video, share the video. We're very, very fortunate every week to have Dr. Tuliatos here answering questions that your doctor can't answer for you. And the guy at the gym who sells gear, I don't think you should be going to him for this advice. Medical doctor here, champion bodybuilder. We're very, very blessed to have Dr. George here. So thank you, Dr. T. And that's it. We will see you again next week right here on Ask Dr. Testosterone. Thanks for watching. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.